In order to make contacts, find work, and get employed, it's not what you know, it's who you know. Heard that somewhere before? Of course you have, because unfortunately, things are cliches for a reason. They tend to turn out to be true. So, in a world where trying to make connections in the first place is difficult, how are you going to go about getting the kind of work that is going to enable you to have the kind of career that you want if you haven't got any contacts? You got to promote yourself and your work. Welcome to the placement tutorial, where we will hopefully go from no contacts to a vast library of different ways of making connections and creating your career. To begin with, it is important to understand that whilst these two descriptions of a work placement can be easily found on Google, be advised that they are enough to make you fall asleep. They also sound more like placing that funny man in Google Maps next to a picture of your house than they do placing you within a suitable working environment. So the careers team at Ravensbourne have come up with their own description of what a placement is actually about. It is the useful and creative application of your time within an environment that allows you to learn from professionals, make connections with people in the industry, and showcase the talent and ability that you have within a space that will recognise talent and award with further work. So, to understand how your applications to companies may look and what the best approach would be, you first need to understand what companies are out there in your industry. So, I'm going to get you to spend 3 minutes coming up with names of companies, individuals, or studios that you could work for. And when we break out into the Zoom meeting afterwards, then we can discuss the names that you've come up with. You need to start thinking now about your approach to the company. You've got all these names, and these three titles highlight the different approaches. So the cold sell is where you need to be really accurate with your statements, clear in your CV, and fascinating in your portfolio or showreel. This person has never met you before, and they're not advertising a job, and they don't know why you're writing to them. So the barriers will be up and they will be guarded. So be the best possible version of yourself. Don't let up on that stance for the other two forms of approach. The application process will have the employer knowing what you want because you're applying for a job they posted, but you still need to impress as your name will be in the hat with everyone else. Similarly, if you are in an interview situation, you need to be on top form as they are taking in your personality and seeing if it fits with the work they see and the type of person that will fit well with their organisation. All three approaches require simple communication, positive attitude, and a clear understanding of you and your brand. When following up an application, don't worry about sending a follow-up email maybe a week after your initial approach. It's not pushy. It's professional to maintain a correspondence to demonstrate your application wasn't just any random approach. These points just help to refine your approach so that you come across as both calm and confident. Remember that if you are ever making an application and want to follow up correspondence but aren't sure what to do or say, please do email me and we can discuss this. But there is a difference. If you're sending an email following up every day, you're being annoying. But if you only send an email once a week just to say, "Hi, I'm just catching up, wanted to find out if we could arrange a meeting at some point," that's okay. Now I usually put a Venn diagram in on this page just to highlight again the types of things required in a CV. Don't worry too much about taking this information in. I can share the presentation with you and you can see it there, but this just gives you an idea of, again, the kind of things in and around your brand and your CV that are important pieces of information for an employer. So I mentioned earlier to be clear in your language, avoid using lots of words to describe yourself. I'm a very hard-working professional creative and I'm very good at using a number of software packages, blah, 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 blah. Change it up so you talk about your actual experiences and make it personal to you. It's far more relevant and interesting to an employer, and it means that you sound different to everyone else. This slide highlights a couple of examples of creatively writing about yourself and inferring all of those good things about hard work and being skilled, but written in a way that informs an employer about you and a particular experience that you may have had. It's more of a story than a shopping list. So this task we will take into the breakout session afterwards, and it's your opportunity to think like the boss and work out what they would ask you so that you can highlight what your answer would be. Getting a placement is a long process. It requires a lot of applications, positivity, patience, and professionalism. People are going to say no, they won't reply, and this will be frustrating. But for every application that you get rejected for, you are one step closer to the person that is going to say yes, which is why you have to keep going. I made over 250 applications in order to get my current job. I'm well qualified, and yet I only got 3 interviews and only one of them said yes. So in a competitive world, be awesome, showcase how good you are, and don't just make 5 or 10 applications. Make 500 or 1,000. And I know those sound like ridiculous numbers, but you need to keep going. There are other sessions prepared which talk about CVs and cover letters, and if these are not already set up for you, then let me know and I can sort this out. This presentation has been about identifying the companies you want to work for, establishing what pathway you are going to introduce yourself to them, and how you will present yourself as an exciting professional brand. These websites are good examples of where you can look for opportunities. The Dots is great for a diverse range of creative projects, and it also has its own section on internships within the jobs section. Have a look at making an online presence of your work through places like Wix, Squarespace, or Behance, and think about a more subtle approach through Instagram. Hi, I've been following your page for a while and work within your industry. I'd love to catch a meeting with you to see if there is a way in which I might be able to help your organization. It's a casual approach, and you're offering help rather than asking for a job. It's the same thing, but done in a way which implies you are being nice rather than just trying to get a job out of them. So I'm done rambling. Let's break out, and if there are any questions, we can go through those. Otherwise, let's get started on the task in hand. See you in a mo.